Hey friends, I'm glad to see you new Scudliners. Today we're talking about the journey in crypto, how people get into crypto, how they leave it, where they disappear to, how they come back, and basically how to avoid making mistakes in this whole niche. Hey Anton, hi. I have a question for you. How did you manage to lose 16 million bucks? Because that's quite a story that few have heard, but I know it was painful.
Few did not hear because it took time to understand and comprehend everything in order to come to you today and tell you many of these elements. You're the first person I'm going to share a lot with on the internet about how it really was. Everything happened in 2022, 22 to 23 to 24. Yeah, that was the journey of living with it. I just crossed them out of my mind. They were quite mentally challenging. Probably in December, I spent a month in St. Moritz, Switzerland, just sitting on the horizon, like a phoenix that burned out completely. I meditated in the forest and then came out. It's already the new year with a lot of energy.
So, I have a question for you. So, people out there, we're talking about losing millions, and here I lost 16 million. Probably sitting in St. Moritz, Switzerland, and recording a podcast about Dubai. Or not, how?
I didn't completely become destitute. I lost a huge amount of capital in different areas. Back in 2018, when I saw the first bear market, I've been in crypto since 2017, I witnessed a huge number of funds collapsing. $1 billion funds, $500 million funds. I understood that sooner or later, any fund in crypto is likely to have the risk of going bankrupt.
What means they collapsed?
They were losing money. There were also a lot of similar situations in October 2018 where American, European, and British investments were collapsing. There were 100 investments, all down 98%. A person had $700 million in the fund, but it all turned into 5. Did that really happen? It did. And then I consciously understood that if this is happening in the West, with the best minds, analysts, and technologies, then it could happen here sooner or later as well. I made the decision back in October, I remember in 18, that I would go down the path of licensing to at least move towards a legal framework since I had a highly technological process at that time. In 2019, and I went to Switzerland to buy a company, to get licenses in FINMA to study this issue. There, of course, the local Germans who moved to Switzerland scammed me out of money. We lost a bit there, maybe $150,000. They also fed a bunch of nonsense to the young guys about the licenses. But I started to immigrate to Switzerland from Moscow because it was a friendly country, and clear laws, clear regulations. The decision was made to create profit from trading because first and foremost, I always traded myself. I started learning to trade myself in 2017, taking various courses. I studied and was involved in trading. I liked it back then, but I understood that I wouldn't want to manage $100 million in trading. It's nerves, it's stress, it's a big responsibility. And there's always the risk of what happened to a huge number of funds that I saw in 2018, so that risk always remains. And you always have to do everything in a way that, from a legal standpoint, you don't break the law in case of such a situation, which is basically what I did. I don't know if anyone else has done the same, but I started getting financial cryptocurrency licenses in 4 countries right away. It was Switzerland, Liechtenstein, Dubai, and Russia. A week before the war started, I received a license from the central bank in Russia with our partners. Actually, our partners received it. We were consulting them. They were supposed to work together to accomplish the tasks. It was similar, meaning we needed to create a crypto bank, a Bitcoin vault in Switzerland. And for that, we needed to build bridges. We were looking for partners and found one in Russia that we consulted. He was supposed to carry out that task. To accept fiat money and the crowdfunding licenses were issued. At that time, I was consulting representatives of the central bank together with my team. That was right around 2021. We started in 2021, and in the summer, a department was formed. The license implied collecting cashless payments, like in crowdfunding, without limits, to transfer this money to the trading company. The company's trader was transferring money abroad to us here in the DMCC, in the OTC. Back then, we were still working with VIFT. It made sense and could work as a bridge. And here, the OTC was carrying out the buying and selling of USDT or Bitcoins and passing them on to our partners. They were already distributing it among the companies that needed this crypto. This is one of the connections among 8 companies. Here, in Dubai, I got the first financial cryptocurrency license for all of Dubai. It was May 2021. Actually, that's why I came here. So I was the person who came here to push the industry forward, specifically from a legal standpoint. And I worked with the regulator all the way through, with everyone at DMCC. How old are you?
36. And what's your background? How did you end up taking the legal route?
I saw back in 2018 at a gathering in Singapore, I think it was all the central banks, that there would be a legalization of crypto in October. And when everything collapsed that whole year, I was watching it all and realized that I needed to go legal. Otherwise, things would turn out badly later.
So what's your background? So what was it like before all of this? Why are you so unconventional, like going for legality? I know a few people and
No, well, I'm a legal person by nature, so that's standard thinking.
no, I got it. And what was your background before all this? What were you doing before crypto?
In Moscow, I was involved in selling commercial real estate, auctions, and so on. Auctions, so basically finance loans. Ecology? I've worked a lot with regulators in Russia. So, with various state enterprises, for me, understanding that everything has to be within the law according to local regulations is just standard, normal.
Hey, can you explain this topic from that perspective? Interesting. Let's say a license from Dubai. It doesn't matter if it's Singapore or Switzerland. It only applies to services provided here.
Not quite.
But crypto is international, spread all over the island.
The most difficult part is that in Liechtenstein, my friend Thomas wrote almost the entire law back in 2016. We obtained 2 licenses for exchange and storage there. In Switzerland, we also obtained licenses for exchange and storage, but we were given Zero, which is a self-regulatory organization similar to Bitcoin Suisse, where you can operate up to 100 million. We can operate within the country's territory. In Liechtenstein, within Europe. In Russia, it was necessary to operate within the territory of Russia and the CIS. And Dubai, since it's a free zone, has been ranked as the best free zone in the world for the 9th year. In a row, economically, yes, DMCC. So you could basically operate globally from there. Well, there were certain criteria. Again, this entire license was created together with British regulators, European ones, and US. Well, we did all of that, so it was new. There wasn't much practice. In the same year, in September, I received a DLT license. That was in 2021. Then a week later, Binance, I think, got the same one. This is for token issuance. It's also a new license. Then the rules changed. It was no longer possible to issue tokens under that license. There was also a mess there. And at the end of the year, we received a license for storing Bitcoins and Ethereum and any cryptocurrency. It's also the first one. So they didn't have any practice. To understand the practice, a year later in 2022, WARA was established, the regulator here. They came to my office and asked my team how we work. And we learned from it. Compliance checks, due diligence, documents, crypto verification, contracts, transfers, professional finances, all of that.
Everything sounds cool. What are you doing? I can't understand.
Right now, I'm making games. Telegram, it's all simple.
What the hell?
And I plant trees. It's different now. That was the past. It was, so to speak, an unsuccessful experience. Interesting, but I got into it too early. I went to get licenses in 4 countries. Not 1, 4. Liechtenstein, Switzerland, Dubai, Russia. So there was 1,600,000 invested just in these trees. It was wiser investing the trees in licenses.
How can you were involved in commercial invisibility, I see. Then crypto, you were saying something? In trading? What's the significance?
I got into trading first. My wife pushed me saying, go buy Bitcoin for $500. I bought it at 54 over the whole summer. And then I started trading there, bought it for 2 Bitcoins from Cryptomaniacs for 500,000 rubles. They taught me how to trade using Bollinger Bands there. The training was intense, really cool. Then there were some signals clubs. I started selling other people's some courses in my community. I was buying some signals from someone and reselling them. Well, I started trying different things. I didn't touch mining back then. Now I'm getting into mining in Abu Dhabi because it's legal. Back then, I wasn't interested. And I went from 54 to 46 Bitcoins. I had 12.5 Bitcoins. And in January, it was 46. I remember there was a drop in January. I was just snowboarding on Elbrus. That drop was really harsh. Then just like that, the money dropped. It was almost $800,000. I thought I'm becoming a millionaire. Initially, it felt like a whole new life. And it just dropped back down. And somehow I got hooked on it. And I couldn't get out of crypto after that.
How did you lose the money?
By investing in various tokens and projects. We created a lot of projects. I was giving different signals to people in the channel. I had a hit rate of about 78% a year at first, which went up to 80, 82. The best year was 2021.
What rating?
Well, we kept a hit rate. I gave recommendations to people, shared my opinions on what to buy and sell as a trader, and out of those, 95% hit in the whole 30s in 2021. So there was a hit. Well, we posted all the proofs, we kept track of everything. There were different products that I recommended. Along with the team, where to invest or sell, yes. For example, like the recommendations we made. And there were products where if you don't want to deal with this, we created a smart contract that generates a fixed return of 80% per year. Basically, since 2019, people had to put USDT into this smart contract. The system works like this. You connect your MetaMask, sign an agreement, put in your USDT, exchange it for other tokens called SHUTs, and you get a sort of receipt, a guarantee, like a token swap from one to another. We took that liquidity and invested it in projects where we lost. Where we made money, we would bring it in once a quarter and put it into that smart contract. People would come with a specific date. There were 4 dates a year. They were taking a 20% return from their invested USDT, and it worked like that for 3 years. Great. People pulled out $7.5 million from that smart contract that I put in there. I made 150, 200% annually. It was possible. So I kept part of it for myself, for my projects and expenses, and part for the people, what I earned for them.
The smart contract is still there technically. You can check it on the blockchain.
It's there. You can check it out. The figure is 10 million. There was something like 300 that went in. How much came out? That's all. It was made on Ethereum. All the information is completely transparent. And in total, it was a little over 10 million. I don't remember if it was 300 or 500 that went in there. And they were all lost. But if all the millions were paid out, no, it was 3 years. But people spent that money buying cars for their parents, traveling. Some even got a whole floor in a hospital. So in the end, there were only 3 losses. I did renovations for 90,000 euros, various things, yeah. I wouldn't say that there were just 3 losses for the people.
No, well, yeah, euro. If you had 5.5, you made 7.
Gave it back.
Gave back 7. You returned 70% and there were 3 losses.
Yes. Well, it was considered like the body that... Well, that makes sense. I was setting it aside with the idea that I could take it back later because someone was taking the principal.
And where did the amount of 16 come from?
These are already my personal earnings. You see, what I gave them, I've already earned about that much myself. And I was investing in various projects, like those licenses and such. I just opened an OTC here in Dubai where I invested 1,100,000, and I didn't pull a dollar out of there. The regulation is still not quite perfect for you to carry out this activity in Dubai in the way you want to. It's completely legal. I'm asking, is this even normal? I have expenses of $60,000 every month, 2 years. Let's use a calculator to figure out where I'm going to get this money. So I've already put in a ton. When will I start earning? I came here to this country to make it better. I was the first person to get a financial license, and I didn't even speak English at the time, while 100 other British and European people were in line and didn't get that license first. So I did that, right? So right now, I can't work with UTC. So far, I haven't earned a single dollar on this. On this invested $1 to $1 million, because $500, $600. Illegal exchange offices are operating in Dubai. I constantly sign this for Varia when I'm asked questions every 3 months. I'm asking, what about those exchange offices? Did you close them? When will you close them so I can work legally?
What's the problem?
The problem is that this is illegal activity. When someone brings you cash, you take the cash and give them the business cards. It's not licensed yet. You need a license to open a physical exchange point. You come in with your passport. I deposited dirhams, received USDT, or I came in, scanned, went through, signed all the documents, and it's all in the system. It should be regulated, but it's not regulated yet.
Not ready yet?
I hope maybe this year. It will happen. I'm extending this license because I'm waiting for them to get in touch with me. As soon as it opens up, I'll immediately upgrade it to a land exchange.
And what does your license give you?
We were buying and selling crypto. In the second year, exchanging checks worth $5, $10, $50, $100 million with various companies from around the world. We only worked with cashless payments. That's it. But the business wasn't particularly profitable back then. Well, to be more precise, we probably couldn't get it going. We were making $30,000 to $100,000 a month. You'll turn over 50 million there. That's a bit. I'm waiting for the cross-border transfer laws between the BRICS countries to be established so that we can continue this work, because the volumes there are already expensive. I'm just waiting to help with cross-border transfers.
So how do exchanges work in Dubai?
Illegally? Well, it's like this. You call a friend, he comes over to you, you transfer to him, and he gives you cash. What do you mean? How do they operate under the law? Yes, they just don't get touched in most cases. If they create a fraud case, and if they haven't scammed anyone with all those triangles and everything, then they have no problems. When a fraud case is created, that's when some counterfeit money comes in, and they create those triangles.
Here, probably.
There were a lot of people sitting behind all of this. A bunch of people got locked up. Some are still in prison, and new precedents keep popping up. I didn't initially go into this business because I understood what it could be. When I was offered to invest in a company, in 22, there is such a company in Dubai, 7 Golden Gates. They have a couple of offices, near Rolls-Royce. I invested all my money. They started with my funds, fully setting up the office. We rented a place near Rolls-Royce on the marina. I didn't go in there. I said I was waiting for regulation. They signed a contract stating that they had to bring me into the company and give me 50%. I said I would wait for the regulation to pass, and they had a PSP license, payment service provider. Well, let's say it covered you halfway in Dubai, son. Back then. So with it, you could take money from a person and do something for them. For example, pay for electricity, gas, or a loan. Well, something like that. Take cash from you and officially pay something for you, like a mortgage. This is a payment service provider. Then we had certain conflicts, misunderstandings, and basically they didn't properly adhere to the contract, so I didn't join that company. So I was initially waiting for the regulation to come through, so I wouldn't get involved with companies that could lead me into some issues with the regulator. Because at that moment, I had already received it in Switzerland, and in Liechtenstein, I was just about to get my license. 2, as soon as you get 2 licenses, the company is worth an additional $5 million. Just, Well, because there are serious levels of scrutiny there. How they check in Liechtenstein, no one else in the world checks like that. There's a high level.
I think people don't even know where that country is.
People don't even know that you can pay taxes with crypto, but I've been paying taxes in cryptocurrency for 5 years now.
You know, it's interesting. You're sharing another side of crypto.
The authorized capital is in bitcoins, 33 bitcoins in 3 companies in Liechtenstein and 2 in Switzerland. The authorized capital is not in francs, but in bitcoins. Back then, it was still possible to do that.
I have a question. Where do you get the money to finance all of this?
I was a trader. I was making 150, 200% annually every year. My first capital plus all these products, the smart contract where people were putting liquidity, and we used it.
Why did you leave trading?
Because projects like Yosha, Phantoms, Luna, there were billions of projects that just got scammed, and it was tough psychologically.
Wait, what about the Phantom with Skamilos? Phantom is Shiliov Solomonsky.
He's not with Skamilos. He fell. Now it's Sonic. Yeah, he just fell. It's about insider information, which they say exists in crypto. There are some insiders and so on.
All right, so what have you learned from all of this?
I learned that probably we shouldn't rush ahead of the train. I tried to create products that didn't exist in the world yet, ones that haven't come into their time. How to store bitcoins. I launched the payment system in January 2024.
How many times did you miss? Is it time already?
Or is it already too late? For 5 and 3 years.
Is it already too late?
Even for them, to revive them in the same way, it's still too early. Regulation is not ready in Dubai. I launched the payment system in 150 establishments. You know them. Lucky Fish, Friends, Theater, 5, Palm. I connected a lot of hotels. I connected in Palm. You can come and pay with my payment system using 80 types of cryptocurrency. 800 actually out of them, 12 are the top ones. We did this for food from January to March 24th, 2023, because transactions on Tron take 4 to 12 minutes, and many people don't like that, including the merchants. But the owners of these restaurants also have many problems they don't like. We were waiting for Tron to have faster speeds. He promised something like 100,000 transactions per second. And we hoped that while we were developing it, Ton would replace USDT properly that year. And we just realized that the technologies aren't ready. Blockchain has its issues. It's slow, regulation isn't ready, and USDT isn't accepted. They won't open accounts for us. Actually, we didn't open accounts in 2 companies back in 2021 at Emirates NBD. But they said, you can't use it for crypto. I said, why do I need this license? And the account, if I can't operate the way I need to, for example, like in Liechtenstein and Switzerland, as an example, he says, well, we still don't have this and that ready. I said, so it turns out you can only pay for electricity? He says, yes, electricity and salaries. So it seems like you invested, you opened up, but you rushed in like a train. You did what no one else has done yet. It's too early. Well, okay, I learned that you shouldn't do that, which is why I left.
I agree that the biggest money is made when you do what no one else has done yet. The first one usually takes the biggest slice of the pie.
Yes, that's why there are wins in Telegram.
How can you take a fundamental approach to making games in Telegram?
I realized that you shouldn't just wait for something to happen to you, like doing something new, but rather focus on what has already been invented. But it's just a new sector, a new ocean. The gaming market is quite large. Last year, it was 189 billion.
Wait, but it's not in Telegram. That's a huge misconception. Not yet, not yet. Do you understand that PlayRix will crush you when the moment comes?
Well, listen, it's clear that there's Binance, but there are also 500 small companies that are surviving. Stock exchanges. It's clear that there are big companies that will come in and take their share.
Of course, these exchanges are the ones taking the money. You know, I visited the offices of different exchanges, and they are some of the richest companies in crypto.
This is the top chain of the food web. So there's the exchange, then the market maker, projects, all sorts of people who run channels and make money by teaching traders. And then there are the chemists who come in. And that's how in 2017 I mixed up the buy and sell buttons. Oh, I pressed the wrong one there. Usually if I mixed it up, I should have been winning. No, I've never been lucky in gambling. I'm not into it. And that's exactly the niche, the chain. It's the new traders who are just mixing up the buttons. And because of that, they end up losing some money.
Okay, yeah.
So yeah, they are rich.
And there are huge offices. It's just...
You're doing it yourself. Interesting.
Bybit charges a hefty commission. The CIS market is just powerful.
Right now, we're giving away a Porsche Cayenne, a Rolex, and an iPhone. So you need to create an account through the game. You log in through the game, open a new account on Bybit, deposit $100 there. You don't have to spend it. You can buy Bitcoin, so you don't necessarily have to trade. There are no volumes, just $100. 1 out of 150 iPhones. They will give, well, to the winner from our audience, one of 1,000 Rolexes, some simple ones, and 1 out of 15,000 Porsches. Well, I was messing with them for 3 months on those marketing campaigns.
We're bringing people in from the game. But why the audience?
A new audience.
But hasn't she gathered the whole audience yet with Nadcoin, Hamster, Docs, and Katz?
No, they are gathering it. They have a policy. Binance is trying to outpace them. BitGet. They're competing with each other. They need new people. They haven't gathered everyone. Well, let's take a look. 300 million. How many people are on Telegram? They claim 900 million.
Well, 300.
Even if it's 300, do these exchanges really have that many users?
I have different information that exchanges don't need Nigerians, Pakistanis, and other users from those countries because all they do is bring costs for what Ton faced. Yeah, why? Utu now. Interesting question. How do you do that thing?
SMS messages mixing up costs, right?
No, they have host, not even SMS. Their KYC costs $2. So a guy comes in, registers on the exchange, goes through KYC, and then rides off into the sunset. That's it. End of the story. So for the exchange, the economics just don't add up from the perspective of...
For a small exchange, yes. That's why exchanges like Bybit, AKEX, and Bitunix, for example, have certain requirements. They asked, and they said, we're not Binance. Only if they make a deposit of $100, then we'll count it there. As for Binance, I have different contracts with them. It's much simpler there. They just care about KYC. They don't care at all. The main thing is whether he will deposit the money or not. They have too much money. So they just say in the contract, this is how much for KYC. And that's it. Lead everyone to us through the game over the course of a year, 2 or 3.
They need users.
What? Are they just going to stand still? You think they got everything through Hamster, but I don't think so.
I think that, to be honest, I look at this whole industry of all these, well, it's like dark times for any applications in Telegram right now.
Just like the crypto space in 17 dark times. And then the bandits show up. Dubai.
What do you mean?
Behind me.
And why are the bandits coming after you?
They're extorting money.
What the hell?
Why do the bandits need money?
Why the hell would they come after you?
Well, they hire them, they show up and talk.
Tell me how it happened.
I think it was probably around the very end of 23.
Okay.
A friend is calling me. Not a friend, more like an acquaintance, let's say. Yeah, he's an acquaintance. He says, information about you is going around looking for such a person. I said, come on, let's not have it found somewhere. I'm ready for a meeting. If anyone wants, go ahead. So I live here on the Palm. Sure, no problem. And he organized a meeting. About 6-7 people showed up, out of which 4 were adults, around 40, now 50 years old, bearded, strong men. A couple of people, just the ones who bought this token. Which one? So, are you collecting different tokens? Yeah, this one, yeah. This cap, by the way, it symbolizes $10+ million. I'll tell you later. This is probably the last thing I have left, okay? So they came with this team, they hired you, it turns out, paid for the accommodation of this group of people for 2 weeks, and they had 2 meetings with me. I already declined the 3rd one. Well, listen, the same one. I went to this meeting, we started at the Palm. They had their arguments, and I had mine. And I've been taught for a long time that all words need to be put on paper. I understand that. The regulator called me after this situation, as well as the DMCC and others. So all the regulators called me in. I answered all their questions, and there were no complaints against me because, from a legal standpoint, I did everything from A to Z correctly at that time. So I didn't violate anything. Every person who came in exchanged their USDT for this token, and they signed the agreement with a check mark. We put the agreement in MetaMask in both English and Russian, just to be sure, right in the blockchain. So as soon as a person agreed in MetaMask, they were agreeing to all the risks, and that message was copied from UBS, the largest Swiss bank that was then working with crypto. So we just did a copy-paste of their laws? Yeah. Those agreements, he agreed to all the risks, that he takes on all the risks, absolutely everything, and signed it with MetaMask using his address. And all of this went into the blockchain. Even if something happened, which did happen, all the risks are on him. He agreed to this, so he can't go on and buy something, swap USDT for these tokens, or invest in anything until he agrees twice. If he didn't read it, that's his responsibility. If he doesn't agree, he could have chosen not to sign. And that's why I confidently communicated with them, trying to explain this. It was hard to explain new technologies to the older generation, but I managed to do it from the first meeting. Then they moved on to the second one, and their attack tactic was more aggressive, harsh. It was an unpleasant meeting. They were putting some chewing gum in my coffee. There were these huge, massive guys sitting there. Their goal was to come and squeeze $5 million out of me. The goal... So they were talking to that person. They gathered in some kind of group and they said, we're like lawyers. I said, the lawyers are going to court. What people were writing to Ahmad Dimisi, the head and founder. You know Dimisi. So Ahmad showed me the correspondence. He says, look, they're writing to me now. And I told him, well, then go to court. This is the head of the Dimisi Free Zone, right? They write to him directly, but what's the point? It doesn't work. He tells them, go to court if you have questions or claims. We're operating within the legal framework. These guys also tried to download. Well, there was no rudeness from their side in terms of insults. There was just this constant communication. They were trying to understand the situation. They knew the situation from that side. Those people who bought the token and the token dropped, yes, for example. From my side, I had to explain at the level of the documents that people signed and explain the whole situation because they weren't the first and they won't be the last. To whom? I had to explain. Because whoever flew here, I met with them. But there were only 1,300 addresses. I can't just gather everyone together and talk to all of them. It's complicated. So this kind of video with you is really convenient. When the Kursk sank, Putin came into the hall where 400 upset mothers were sitting. How can you talk to all of them? It's difficult. Also here, when people don't fully understand where they've stepped into, they skip the agreement and don't take responsibility for their actions. And then, for example, in some casino, let's call it a crypto casino, they somehow lost. They go outside and try to get back in, but they're not allowed in. They try to get back in and rewind everything. Give it back to me. I've changed my mind about playing in the casino. But this should have been taken care of before entering. When you first exchanged your fiat currency for a token and USDT, you were already in the game. Well, figuratively speaking, you've already exchanged them. Back then, what was USDT? Yeah, and even now in Switzerland, you can open capital with USDT, but here it's still an unregulated currency.
Well, it's harsh. Well, I mean, it's fair, I would say, but harsh. Fair, from a legal standpoint.
We must act within the framework of the law. Not some street concepts that they have over there. So they have some concepts from the 90s. Okay, but there are human concepts and there are documents. A person came in who I've never seen in my life. I don't even know if they're my client or not, since there was no KYC, just a MetaMask connected. We still need to check if they are actually a client of this product or not. They gathered and basically they started extorting money, saying, come on, you give us $5 million and we'll leave you alone. I said, first of all, that money doesn't exist. It's already lost. Go to the CEXs, to Binance, and to all the exchanges because all the money is still there. Money doesn't get lost. It just flows from one pocket to another. They are like energy. Yes, they move. Go, I say to the CZ, and ask questions there. They said, no, come on. We came to you. We've been here for 2 weeks already with expenses going back and forth. So in general, I refused. And they said this phrase, you do realize that for $10,000, we can hire anyone here to stab you with a fork. And after that moment, I stopped treating them like a gentleman. That is, I came alone to meet them from Semer, Caucasians, I am a Tatar. After that, they asked me, saying, if you have any protection in this country, we would like to meet with them. I went to the CID, the criminal police, and filed a report saying a group of people has arrived from Russia, extorting $5 million from me, threatening me with murder for $10,000. The police immediately collected all their photos. They had already flown away, and a ban was placed on all of them. After a while, I don't remember, maybe 2 or 3 months, one of them flew to Abu Dhabi and they caught him there and immediately brought him to the station. And they called me on Monday. I think they caught him on Friday. On Monday, they called me and said, please come to the station. We caught one of them. With the photo, everything is quick. They just need a camera. He's sitting in a cafe and they add him to the database and that's it. He's already in there. So everything works very quickly here, especially when it threatens lives and involves extortion. That's already serious. It's a group, not just one person, but a whole organized crime group. I said that this guy is not involved. He was just the communicator. He just connected me with him because I was ready to communicate. Why not? If they want to make it easier for me to resolve the issue right away so it's clear. My position, my site, and the documents, right? There was a different position there. Well, they were, of course, unhappy with the outcome, I guess, and left. If they come there.
Interesting. They have an interesting approach.
No, on them. Who's in charge here? The main king is here.
Sheikh. Yes, the system works here.
Yes. Who? Please sit down in the criminal police. You want me to act here within the law? That's it. So go ahead, talk to them. No one valued their own words, just their own place.
And where are you going? Did you physically go to the police?
Go to the criminal police, yes.
So figuratively speaking, I arrived at the office.
Yes, I'm all connected now. Even if someone else arrives, let's say, theoretically not you, but someone else starts doing something, I can add people to that case. Just a moment. Well, all right, that's already... This is the situation. No, I like how things work here from a legal standpoint. You want to talk? Go ahead, but don't threaten someone with murder, okay? And don't extort money. If you have questions, go to court and file a lawsuit. That's right, especially since the courts here work well. They also wanted to set up collective courts, by the way, but they were denied. Because from a legal standpoint, we followed all the rules that were in place back in the 19th, 20th, and 21st years. All the laws were still there then. They just did everything right. So they warned about the possible risks. If the person agrees, then come in.
Since it's clear.
If you don't agree, please don't come in. Go do something else. Look, they planted trees in Colombia, please. 6% per year, but there is insurance. Alliance of a German company. And there, if the trees burn down, they'll pay you within 30 days. The whole amount, $5 million, $100 million, no problem.
They're reducing the trees in the colony.
To earn 16% per year, sell carbon and air. This is also one of the projects that existed.
I'm just saying, that's a whole different story.
But in 2022, we also closed it.
That's a whole different topic. Let's not even touch it. I don't even want to get into it.
It's complicated. People aren't ready for this yet.
Trees, carbon credits, and this whole story. It seems to be some kind of, I know what they're thinking. It needs to grow to a certain level.
It needs to grow. The Swiss are investing 20, 40, 50, $100 million into this. There are factories worth $600 million. They have different information at another level. They know what the tax regulations will be ahead of time. That's why they're investing in it today while it's still cheap. And when the price goes up, it will be a bit too late. So, well, it's like now, like the year 2011 for Bitcoin, let's say. No one knows and no one needs it. Is this property in Russia right now? I think it's from January 1st. Property, right? The president signed the law. Back then, in 2017 to 2018, bankers were telling me, you're involved in some kind of pyramid scheme. Bitcoin is nonsense. Why do you need those licenses? The same goes for the trees.
It's just very far away.
It's too early.
Let's talk about games. How did you end up here at all?
Last year, a developer came up to me spontaneously and said, let's do this. Look, Notcoin, let's create a token, $1,000 in 5 days. I said, why? He says, well, it's cool. It's a trend. I said, okay, let's do it. Well, it ended up costing $300,000 for the year, but I remember that phrase, $1,000 in 5 days. Of course, it all ended up costing more. And we just did it. We launched it. I asked a couple of bloggers, friends I know on YouTube, to promote us. They gave us 16,000 people on the first day. Something broke right away. Something fell off. A lot of people, yeah, and it just kept going. We just jumped on this wave behind Notcoin and had no idea where it would lead or what it was for. We didn't understand anything at all. We just kept going, doing things and developing. We were growing. We were doing advertising, doing marketing, breaking down, constantly breaking down. Too many people. So Google would refuse something saying, you have 226,000 people. There can't be that many registrations in a day. Or the payment system wouldn't work. Or this wouldn't work. Well, we closed down for 2 weeks afterward because nothing was working at all. So where were they coming from? Was it a Nigerian or was it a bot? We didn't really understand what was happening. So we just went with the flow. Then, when Notcoin got listed, we realized it was time for us to get listed too. We saw that the hamster had grown a lot. We understood that we needed to get listed in the summer because the hamster would probably get listed in the summer, and we were preparing for this. We started preparing in June. AVACOIN, Bybit couldn't manage to do anything at all because they weren't ready for the tone. Well, you know, right? That's it. But we made a mistake. We were analyzing our mistakes with Bybit and AVACOIN in November and December, realizing that we got listed too early. We should have waited until October, for example, or later. And we made a lot of mistakes by getting listed too early. July 30th on the Tier 2 exchange. We just didn't manage to get in on the first one. Well, they didn't have enough time to make a decision. So that's how we got pulled into this game. We liked it. We were selling ads there. Well, you know, that's it. Everyone was selling ads. We sold something for about $500,000 in June, July. Like 450, maybe something like those numbers, yeah. It was pretty good. Then we realized that we needed to make games. Tappelkin, what is this all about? This is something unserious. We need to make games now that we've come this far, now that we've dived in. We started creating something interesting, where there are animations where they fight, gather resources. There are 2 castes. One is mining diamonds in Dubai, and the other is mining gold in Africa. They have different territories, mines, and they fight among themselves, taking from each other. There are constant skirmishes. Then, in the fall, we added marketing there. They sell some of their tools, hats, guns, and trade with each other on a full-fledged market to create utility tokens. So they are all involved in this. We liked it. We were tracking the metrics. The most important thing is the metrics because I'm a person who looks at data first and foremost. Statistics are important to me. So I look at the numbers and I understand what's happening. Without the numbers, I don't understand what's going on at all. So from September, October, November, December, and now January, we were tracking all the metrics. How many people are coming in? How many are playing? How many are buying with Telegram stars? What's the conversion rate? We started with a 1% conversion rate and grew to a 6% conversion rate. We looked at which weeks had the best conversions, which products were selling well, which ones weren't, and how many customers we had overall. Then we activated the annual FII server for $20. We're looking at this statistics, observing, and then all of this led to the fact that we found it interesting. In Telegram, we need to develop not just games, but also various offerings. Right now, we're working on Tab Dubai, which is an app for buying and selling tickets and booking hotels and so on. Well, it's a service for for Dubai, so that it's in Telegram. There are also other posts. We're working on AI for real estate, trying out some things, just playing around with them. But the main focus is on the gaming platform, so that within our AVACOIN platform, there are different games for people to play. We believe that this will develop over the next 10 years. So that's good, but it's better than trying to get into crypto at the level I was thinking about. Not at the level of a trader, but at the level of licensing. The laws aren't ready yet. As soon as the laws in Russia and Dubai are suitable for cross-border transfers, I'm all set to revive this, open up, and start working on it.
Okay, so from a metrics perspective, what are you looking at? What do the metrics say right now? Can you share any numbers?
The poor audience unhappy left. Those who got, these $10, $20, $30 payouts, they just dropped their phones and they're gone. They stayed, their phones are still there. Android, they just don't log into Telegram. Plus, the bots that created us are also gone. So everyone's metrics have dropped. There are still real live people left.
That's interesting.
It's like the bottom, right? Everything has dropped. And now I'm thinking, why should we do advertising this year for our new product, our new token? Because the right audience will come. So initially, there was this primary hype where everyone got pulled in. And now I was in Switzerland, and almost all of my friends there, I've been living for 6 years, half a year in Switzerland. And now I noticed that almost all of my friends by Lake Zurich have Telegram. Even the old timers have it there. So this didn't exist before, 5 years ago, 3. So it's a trend. I have 43,000 Swiss people in the bot. That's 5 times more than the number of people at Bitcoin Suisse. If we just take the statistical data, each Swiss person has $250,000 in their account, which means there's a capital of about $600 million. Well, because I know all these numbers, so there's something to strive for. There's room to grow and expand in Switzerland and other countries. So it's already a normal audience, even if it's small, let's say 100,000 people in the game or 10,000, but they have the means to pay and they enjoy playing.
Let's check out the game.
Well, this was released last year and now we're working on other games. In a month, we'll have some releases. So for now, come here. Yeah.
So let's press play.
Play, yeah. In December, by the way, they launched training there. Well, 330,000 people went through free training in crypto with artificial intelligence in different languages used. It's also an interesting direction. We like to educate people.
So this is like 4.
These are 4 general platforms, and it will change, yes. A new game will be added here in a month. This is the training, the Educational Institute, right? There's currently 1 rector, but we want to add many different rectors. Here you can learn for free, or you can pay for courses in different languages, like video courses. Well, for free, I gave a friend the link, and he learned the basics. That he doesn't have to pay like $200. Sure, I gave him the link, he took the exam, just like in driving school, you either pass or you don't. That's based on 109,000 of the data. Here you choose. It's a game about mining, or you're mining diamonds in Dubai, right?
What do I need to do?
Well, choose an avatar of yourself.
And then how do I click?
Scroll down, choose.
Damn, that's just not native at all.
Well, everyone has different phones, and they're trying to adapt to both Africans and Europeans.
So are they offering something to buy?
Of course, definitely. And here you have a field where you can choose, build, mine, and fight. It's like a mini strategy.
Got it.
Well, yeah, this is just...
All right, don't hold back. Fight. So what about the metrics?
In this game, out of 12 million people, 1,430,000 are playing. 15,000 buyers, give or take, 6% in conversion. The average check is 141 stars. I'm not Parnagin, who doesn't know his numbers. I know all the numbers for the month. And what are they doing? They fight to take the gold from each other, but now you are both small, so you will not wait. From here, you can immediately share. On Twitter, on social networks, and so on. So these kinds of battles, they fight to take resources when picking cards from other opponents.
What are you saying about the metrics?
Out of 12 million in sum, only this many people have entered the game.
How did you get 12 million? You have 140,000 in the bot.
This is now monthly users. That's different. That's the total for the year.
Well, yeah, for the latest metrics from the last month, you have 135,000 users. How many of them are paying?
15,000 in sum, 15,081.
So that's almost 10%, like even more than 10%. Of those paying, they paid in the servers for 4 months. And how about for the month, roughly?
Added new ones. Sorry, I'll say it now, for the last month.
No, for the month of paying users. Don't you look at the metrics by months?
No, I have it. I just don't have it in my head right now. I can't recall.
I got it. 141 stars is, I can take a look.
490 stars is 141. It dropped. There were 400. There were 500. October, November, it dropped. It also depends on what product there is. They either buy it or they don't. Well, there are about 7,500 buyers right now from the last few months. Well, that's fine. For the month, right? Yeah. Well, they're buying something like 4 stars, 5 stars, 3. Yeah, some game elements to level yourself up.
Well, okay. So, are you focusing on those games right now?
Yeah, because games are like a funnel for attracting people. You sell, and then there's training, the marketplace with connected contracts, and some other directions.
How do you make money from this?
What?
So, on the games?
This is Telegram stuff.
Well, those numbers are just pennies, what you mentioned.
Okay, but that's the perspective, like $7,500, $12,000. That's today, but you didn't get into Bitcoin when it was worth 100,000. You got into it when it became 1,800, right? Well, okay. So this is a question of strategy for many years if we plan to build a serious organization.
Discuss the vision for many years, for the next 3 to 5 years.
After the listing, we plan to start the documentation for the Series A round in Switzerland. Raising capital, because there's a Swiss company AG, and I'm restructuring it right now. From there, we will fully structure the entire organization, conduct Series A, then B and C next year, and then prepare for the IPO. We're going to build a huge, well-rounded company that will produce various games and only on Telegram, And applications, yes, only on Telegram. And applications, including ones like Tab Dubai there, artificial intelligence there, cold calls, for calling realtors and so on. There are various applications that Telegram requires today, and this is the community. It's changing, not just Nigerians.
But what I'm getting at is that both trends and people are changing. So in reality, what was popular there like 6 months ago is unlikely to be used by anyone now, including the same names that were around 6 months ago.
Yes, but if you create an artificial intelligence application in Telegram today, in collaboration with ChatGPT, some lawyer from Moscow it will provide consulting services to all of Russia through the app. It's a convenient tool that can be sold for 2,000 to 3,000 rubles. 15 years ago, there were some network companies, lawyers, who charged $2,000 a year for you to have access to 300 European lawyers. At any moment, you could call. And now you can do all of this through an app. Provide cool, convenient services, legal, consulting, hotel bookings, payments, a lot of things, cards. We have virtual ones. You can order a card for $50. You can set it up in 15 minutes and add it to Apple Pay. Please, half of my friends use this card. You put it there for you exchange it, swap it, and Hong Kong pays for you. Well, it probably works somehow. One of the products, we just connect to ourselves, we create games to attract people somehow. And then we try various products. Why not web or mobile applications, the classic ones? Why Telegram? Well, we've already gotten into that. It's like, crypto has already gotten in there. You already know everything. You're already talking to everyone. You walk around and the sea is already clear in what you can develop. So WeChat has been developing for, 10 years with 9 million apps in WeChat. It has everything. Telegram, it's young. It only took off in its first year. Thanks to some abnormal applications, some airdrops. And then it will be a systematic development. Slowly, maybe over 10 years. But it will happen because if you look at the statistics, not in terms of money, yes, out of a 189 billion in revenue for the entire gaming industry, half of it comes from mobile games. Games have to. So you can't say that Telegram has such revenues right now. No, but it took 20% of the audience from last year. And if we take just the BRICS countries, 1 billion people, 1 billion have smartphones. So Telegram has 300 million users out of the billions that are at least in BRICS. Can you imagine that they have growth potential while Durov is developing his platform? It's like jumping on the back of Notcoin. It's the same thing, jumping on the back of Telegram. It will develop and you will develop with it. So this is the right direction in terms of 5 years, 10.
Interesting vision.
And if you look at it, it's empty right now. It's like with trees. You'll come to a market that's already occupied. The pies will be divided and someone is already on the mountain. Some projects will already be on the mountain and it will be hard to get in. Right now, you won't achieve those results without money. But we did it without any money last year. Well, completely. We didn't invest a single dollar in advertising. And this year, we're planning to spend a lot of millions of dollars on advertising. On YouTube, just YouTube.
I was just thinking about the market. Well, I mean, in one thing, of course, you're right, that this is really the beginning of the journey. It's the first wave and the ebb.
This year will be indicative, yes.
But I fundamentally agree that the narrative in Telegram and Next is unlikely to go away at all. That is, it will most likely develop, most likely they will remain. Some players...
It's convenient. I'm testing it on my son. My son is in the 2nd grade. He just takes the toy and presses the button. Tap, tap, tap. I sent it to all the 10th graders. So if they can do it so easily, even in the 2nd grade, those functions are really convenient. And they are already playing, he added me, friends. They fight with me in different games. So the trend will continue to develop in that format. So I test all my ideas and teams right on my kids. If they like it, if they enjoy it. 6 to 7 years old. My daughter, my son. So that means I can continue to develop it for the others. If they like it, they'll pull their parents in. And it will be smooth. Because download some application, there, somewhere, there are 2 stands. That's completely different. But just sending a link, that's quick, it's much faster. So there will be development. It's convenient for those who already use Telegram. Because WeChat, that's it. It's already done. After all, Notcoin is a copy of Xiaobao. He gathered 170 million there 5 years ago. There's also a game there that, in principle, has gained popularity in the same way. It's not something new. It's just a new market. They took it and opened the Atlantic Ocean. No one swam there, no one fished. All right, let's get started. And this is a new strategy, like the strategy of a new blue ocean, a new lake. It's complicated, but at least it already has an audience that can pay and where you can grow. What lessons do you think we can learn from WeChat? From WeChat, you can take statistics on how many apps people use. On average, people use about 9 apps as games. You can take from the fact that all of this is in a super app, that is a super app. The app has grown into something, well, at the state level. Of course, I should also mention that they are making it mandatory. Everyone in WeChat is creating an app. So there is support at the state level there. The card does not have such support. Massiveness, convenience, comfort, and everything in one. Well, like a separate lake. They're all moving here now too. They just copy and paste, for example, games or apps, and put them here. I was just copy-pasting, because the Telegram audience hasn't used this app. Banking ticket orders, the same booking there. And if Durov releases his own iOS and his own phone, his own operating system, well, that would be fantastic.
I think that essentially the App Store and Google Play market is really a well-established market with its own audience.
Well, how old is he?
And App Stores comes in and sometimes looks for certain apps. Well, when someone is looking for something, they download something. Next is the advertising market. Basically, when we're sitting in Nista or on YouTube and we're hit with ads, we go and download some mobile apps, but we don't use them that often afterwards. Actually, the case there, the downloads of new apps, their launch, and active use isn't that high until you're really pushed to it.
A huge number. We have downloads, but we don't actually use them.
And in Telegram, it turns out that you also have an app just within the market.
You can offer this market the same thing that's available on the App Store.
Yeah, and it turns out that actually, I'm just thinking from a marketing perspective, there are tools basically for internal advertising. This is Telegram, ads, advertising in other areas, basically TMA, well, essentially like and NEPCO, and plus channel recommendations. And then there's the question of unit economics. But for now, almost no one. It's very hard to balance the unit economics for now, and that's why the market isn't developing because, so what's the point of pouring money into a loss?
So there are some early rhinos trying to do this, and they see a bit more than others. The others will follow.
I'm just thinking, how can we avoid pouring money into a loss? Like the meditation app Calm? Many people use it. For reference, this is a meditation app. And Calm is venture-backed, and they could burn through money, just like that, with a payback period of a year or a year and a half. And essentially, they created, by being able to burn through money, they created a market for meditation apps in the App Store.
I invested $590,000 in one of those. Yes, we trust. Well, maybe.
But others can't. Few can break even. 9 to 12 months, that's a long time. And they can't balance the economics, but the market is already formed. You just have to think in terms of markets. What I realized?
You need to do the analysis, the analytics.
It's not even analysis, no. Analytics, metrics, data.
Of course, the approach here should be exactly like that. You just need to invest 50,000 and now they'll make 300,000.
Well, you just need to treat the platform like a market. So you really need to, right here, the theory of markets works, not specific as unit economics. You see, the thing is the market share still, so you can't capture market share in Telegram right now. Because in 6 months, you can easily lose your market share. And it's not just that it will get diluted by competitors, but it will simply become irrelevant. It will become uninteresting. Well, like the same Notcoin. Yeah, it's been a year overall. Well, with all due respect to Notcoin, since it was the first, the community isn't as strong anymore, right? There's a reputation, but it's not as strong. And well, the market share is already diluted.
They don't do anything further. They're actually developers. Initially, it's the developers, not the entrepreneurs, first and foremost. That's why they just don't continue. Their mission was, like Vitalik Buterin, to create Ethereum. So, is Vitalik Buterin doing anything right now? No. So they fulfilled their mission, made their money, and they have their own challenges. If you read Sasha's Twitter, it's clear that he's aggressive towards his community. It doesn't even allow you to reply if you don't have a blue check mark, because they apparently hate him so much that he just can't handle it anymore. That's a huge amount. I know, I've been through it. It's just that it's already passed, and for them, it's a new path of trials. Everyone gets their chance. So they accomplished their task. Right now, new companies are coming in. They're already arriving. By the end of the year, there will be hundreds of thousands of new apps. There will definitely be dozens, hundreds for sure. Billion-dollar companies. They are Moko, for example. They manage 3 billion silk.
But why hasn't Play entered the market yet?
I don't know.
Well, it's an obvious move if there's money to be made here.
I don't think there's money to be made here yet. Telegram start. There are still issues with these payments. Crypto's a no-go. Only Telegram stars because America threw a wrench in the works back in May of that year. New laws. Now you can't use blockchain at all. Another one. Only on Tony, otherwise you'll get blocked. There's also this, internally they don't have their act together in Tony. That's why there's chaos. People don't even have it yet. Telegram stars.
Well, actually...
You have a lot, Telegram stars.
I have a ton. Well, I have a different story there. I have with one affiliate. You know how much I've earned from the affiliate? I don't even know.
Overall, people don't have it yet. There are a lot of Telegram stars and many find it inconvenient to buy it. So it's like...
Well, let's put it this way. It's just inconvenient to buy Telegram stars.
Who has Dubai, but not in Russia.
And it's not available in Russia either. Actually, there's an absolutely non-obvious case here. There are even subscriptions, by the way, but subscriptions haven't taken off in Telegram.
There will be a market boom if Trump and Putin come to an agreement now, and if everything ends and maybe a few years pass and companies lift the sanctions, but globally enough. I just realized that it's enough for Apple and Google to return. Normal payments? Well, it's complicated, of course, but to connect, so to speak, the MIR card, which everyone has now, so that you can buy stars in the app smoothly. Well, we're talking about the index. Yeah, or about Yandex Pay. There is no other viable market in Telegram. It's not there. They're developing Asia, and it turns out, well, it's a hassle. Yeah, there are widgets there. It turns out that you seem to have an audience, but the audience doesn't have the tool to pay. Must. Why? Yandex Pay can't do it. Why can't you buy Telegram stars through Yandex Pay? Can't you do it on Alpha Legal? Well, excuse me, you have Yandex and Yandex Go, Yandex.pay right now. How much do they take? 35%. What's the difference? Apple also takes 35% from you. But basically, you have the main brain for Telegram stars is Yandex Pay, Tinkoff Pay, Sber Pay, for which you can buy stars. It just has to be native. It's embedded. It needs to develop at the level of Apple and Google. And until that happens, it's a market without money. Without money, yes, there is an audience, but they have no money.
That's why it's worth winning people's love.
What kind of money are you planning to make in 2025? If you're in a market where there's no money?
No, well, it's not like there's absolutely no money there. There is some money, kind of, plus venture capital. There's no money. There is money. It's just that there isn't that much. They need to be stirred up. The market has gone towards Notcoin. Hamster missed with a tap to try to win over people who have no money. And right now we're focused on advertising and attracting an audience that has money. So a farmer in Switzerland, roughly speaking, who will be playing a game with a cow, he has money. Or some Indian who moved to Switzerland, he also has money.
And where are you going to hit the farmer with the cow advertising source? On Instagram or on YouTube?
No.
Google Ads. And from there, interrupt on Telegram. They already have Telegram. The main problem, somehow.
43,000 people from Switzerland. No, the question.
I just understand, when you're pouring, metaphorically speaking, someplace like Pakistan, Bangladesh, Indonesia, I don't know, Egypt. There are people there. There's this concept. Usually you pour traffic through ProLand. They create a similar ProLand. Let's say this is what a native landing page looks like to transition to Telegram. And you click there, press it, and then you dive into Telegram. But there is a problem that in these countries, for example, there is still a problem with the transition to TG. And if you pour turban, figuratively speaking, America, Europe, advertising, some that is Switzerland, people simply do not have it. Carts. And now imagine when you used to have money in the budget, then the guys install Telegram and then they've already forgotten that they can't dive into their app through the deep link. That's it. So if you get stuck catering to those who don't have Telegram, it's just a loss.
But your reasoning that the market should be 100% filled, that all Europeans should have Telegram. And I'm thinking that what we have is already enough for now. That's already enough to at least start the development. Enough for what? To move in that direction? It's like arriving in Dubai in 2003 and starting to move around in it. And to see that it will be built. And buying some apartments. So the perspective, or now buying some areas near Jebel Ali, to see the perspective that there will be something someday. Because when Jebel Ali is built, the prices will be different. You also need to choose the right time here.
Do you believe in Jebel Ali?
Why are we making the Tap to Buy app for tourism on Telegram? Because we understand the focus of the king's son, the prince, on development. Up to 7 million increase in Dubai, that's 1 million people. It will come again. So someone will build these apartments, houses, and then rent and sell them all. And this whole area is right near Jebel Ali. I'm not saying that you need to rush and buy there, because I have successful experience. Real estate cases, purchases. I bought and sold with a 110% return over 3 years on Palm back in the day. I understand this market and I also dabble in it a bit. It's more like a hobby, but with a small income. Since they will grow, there is nothing good for the environment, of course, but in terms of people, there will be a lot, and it makes sense to develop. The airport is being built, DWC, where only these Russian cities will be upon arrival. It will accommodate 240 million users a year.
Anton, has this been confirmed?
This is the same DWC that people are currently arriving at from Russia. It's just around, you can't see it, it's being built, it's happening, it's just bigger. Look over there, Buchwald, if you drive by, you can see it. There's a lot going on there. If you look at this trend, it's going to develop, we need to grow too. Along with them, with the flow, you just need to see where. So I would live in Dubai for another 10 years, and that's it, enough.
You know what I like? First of all, the mortgage market has emerged. It seems to me that by the end of 2024, the mortgage market has just started to take shape, along with the secondary market. Because before that, essentially, there was only the primary market, which was financed by developers. Now they've started issuing mortgages, apparently. Maybe there's a backstory with the immigrants as well.
A lot of immigrants have arrived, staying for 4 or 5 years. Everyone here was sitting without money, wondering what to do, and realized they were paying for someone else's apartments. So it was time to buy mortgages. And just last year, there were a lot of mortgages, and this year too. I'm even helping a few employees there right now to get mortgages this year because it's important. In this regard, I think this is happening to a lot of people. That's why the mortgage market is growing.
What do you think they will do about transportation? Because Dubai is already objectively a good city, but it's starting to choke a bit, getting stuck in traffic. So it's no longer a 50-minute city, it's now a 45-minute city.
I think it will get much worse when those additional million people they want to attract as new residents over the next 20 years come in. It will just be a collapse, some kind of nightmare. I've been living on the Palm for 5 years and haven't left. For me, everything else is just outside the city.
I'll use it locally. Locally, I agree. Living locally is fine. Like if you don't go anywhere, then there are really no problems.
Well, yes, DFC feels like a different city to me. You need to put on a suit and a tie. Overall, it's just going to be, well, a lot of different neighborhoods. It's not just one city. It's like a country.
It's a country.
Just 7 million. That's basically like a few districts in Moscow. Well, it will be bad. For the environment, for everything. But there is money and opportunities here.
Why for the environment?
Many cars.
So the air here is immediately. It's already bad. It's bad. Was it better before? I just still can't understand the reason for this, really. The air.
No, it's just not generated here. If in Abu Dhabi they plant algae around them and plant trees there, then where is it supposed to come from here?
Because fresh oxygen just doesn't appear.
Yes, it doesn't get produced fast enough. And there are factories, a lot of cars. Everything is filled with this black smoke. Terrible. I think they won't solve it in 5 years. The issue of the environment, they have nothing to solve.
What questions do you feel? Ecology for you?
Air, water, the basics that support life, human activity. Food is from air and water.
But where does the water come from? What do we pour it into, if not into ourselves from the tap?
So it's dead, they're recycling it. So all of this, large plants that process salt water, separate the salt, separate all the useful stuff, it's dead. There's nothing in it at all. You can't drink it, it's more harmful than, for example, drinking from the river.
No, but you understand that we're drinking bottled water here. But bottled water is also partly recycled from the ocean.
I only drink wine.
By the way, I don't like it. It leaves residue in the kettle. For some reason.
In Switzerland, it's from tap. I live up on the mountain, that's why. The ecology is bad, but there are many opportunities. The opportunities that exist here, you can't find them almost anywhere else in the world right now, especially for us Russian speakers. It's great to live here. There are 200 nationalities living here. So many languages. I came here and didn't speak English. And now I calmly lead Zoom meetings, communicating in English on my topics. I communicate with the whole world. Friends, we are done. Do what you love because that's what you can do.